Not yet? Okay. All right. Everybody watching live, just hold on. I'm just checking my email and my messages. No, I'm kidding. I'm looking for I was going to have the schedule on my phone, so I can just mention something from the schedule, but I don't have that here at the moment. I'll just add that on there. All right, well, welcome everyone to the meeting for today. All right, community development, we'll call this, or making the move. Okay, here we go. I'll be able to get the schedule on my phone here in 2 seconds. Okay, there we go. All right. Community development, making the move. Once upon a time, I had this idea to tell my wife that the congregation we went to, that she was bored out of her mind and didn't want to go anymore, was looking for someplace to go, that I would say, well, then I'll find you a place to go. And she said, well, what if you don't find a place to go? I said, well, then I'll start something. She goes, what do you know about it? I said, I'm your husband. What do you want me to do? I'm going to fix it. I'm red. I was married for 5 minutes. Husband, red, fix it. Okay? And so within less than a year, we had a congregation going and all that kind of stuff. This is a long time ago. But the point is that it was like you'd expect most congregations to be. There were people who lived there locally who went to the congregation, you know. And then some people in other areas started showing interest, and we started additional congregations, you know. At one point, we had a congregation in Knoxville. That was our main one in Knoxville. And we had one in Nashville and one in Chattanooga. And we did Chattanooga Friday night, and Knoxville Saturday morning, and Nashville Saturday afternoon. That was a lot of trip for a long time. Then we took a little break for 7 years. Long story, but we won't talk about that now just because it's a long story. And we want to get on with this. And we started the congregation here in the Chattanooga area. That was back in January of 2012. All right? Because we had moved here December 28th or something of 11. Started the congregation like 2 weeks later, that first Sabbath or second Sabbath of January. And again, it was built on, like you'd expect, the local congregation. Then we started doing what we saw other people doing. We started live streaming because we realized that there were people out there that may benefit from what we were doing. And then I was given, I guess, a vision of what Abba may want me to do, which was to make sure that I'm not only feeding the local congregation, but that I'm also providing for those that are, like so many, isolated and disconnected and without a congregation to go to, that teaches Messiah and Torah observance covenant, right? Covenanted Torah observance in the same breath. Okay? Because they were getting either none of that at all even available, or they were getting your typical Messa-Costal, Messa-Baptist, Messa, just messy. All right? Or something that was basically, you know, Christianity with a tallit or something, okay? Now, that being said, we put the live stream out there. And we weren't doing it even on YouTube at that point. We were using livestream.com. We put the live stream out. And next thing you know, there was an interest started coming from there. And actually, the funny thing is, the first person to moved here because I did a teaching called Are You Saved? And the person who was working under me at the time decided that he hated the teaching and called me a heretic and sent that out to his whole email group. And he was a bigger name at the time as far as having his own email group and blah, blah, blah. And one of the people on his email group was Shira, as you know from our congregation. And so she was like, I wonder what this teaching's all about that he's all mad about. And so she listened to it, and she loved it. Okay? And so she decided to move to Chattanooga to be a part of the congregation. And little did she know the trend that would start. And so Rabbi Tom moved to the area, and a lot of people started moving to here little by little. It then became the ongoing kind of joke, oh, you're the February family. So we'd have people almost coming once a month. Somebody would show up, okay? Then it started to be like, oh, you're this week's family. Now it's like, oh, you're Tuesday's family. That's almost how it's gotten. Sometimes 2 or 3 families show up on the same day. And so whatever Abba's doing, to me, I think it's incredible. It's amazing to watch. In some ways, it's incredibly strange. I mean, I've never been a part of anything where, 90% of the congregation was built on people deciding to come from outside of the local area. It's not that we don't have locals, but, out of 160 people, easily 100 and something of them are not local. They moved here, okay? I would say easily 2/3 or more of the congregation. As a matter of fact, all of you know that experience because as you're meeting people at this event, you're finding out from them, oh, you moved here, from where? Oh, you moved here, from where? And they're all asking you, so when are you coming? Anybody had that conversation? Right? Because now that's not a conversation from us in the ministry trying to evangelize and get people here. That is people that have made the same decision you're thinking about or made a decision that you never even thought about, but now you're thinking about. Because you're wondering, well, why would you? Rocky made a point during the study earlier today, it's hard for me to understand why I would spend all this money, travel 600 plus miles to be in a place for a week with people I don't know, etc. What about making a move and moving your whole life to something like that? And we've got a lot of people in here that are interested in that, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. I just want to kind of give you the background. All right, so it's been very exciting. Look, we started off as most Messianic congregations. We didn't have a home. We ended up renting space. We were renting a gym behind a Baptist church for about 5 or 6 of the last 8 or 9 years that we've been here. Then Abba was ready to move us out, and we bounced around a couple of weeks here and a couple of weeks there until finally this property was found as a place that we could buy. And so now we're very blessed to be one of the few congregations in the sort of Messianic Torah Observant world that owns a building. So praise Yah for that, okay? And so very quickly, we've got a building, we thought, oh, well, this will last us at least a little while because we bought 150 chairs. And we used them all up pretty quick. We actually have almost completely outgrown the building, and now in this October now makes it 2 years. And in 2 years, we've actually outgrown the building. Okay? And so that's amazing. And so praise Yah for that. I used to say that's unbelievable, but no, it's believable, And so we're just very blessed to be a part of this incredible work here. And we can really appreciate, what it must be to decide that what I want and what I need is not where I'm at, so I'm going to move to where it is. And that's really the mindset, okay? And so we want to talk to you a little bit about what's available here, what you want to make sure to be thinking about before making your move, so that you can, if you do decide to come here, be successful in your move. We don't want you to struggle once you get here, and so we want to give you some guidance about that. And we're very excited about this. By the way, one of the potential translations of the Indian language where you get Tennessee from is the gathering place. Isn't that interesting? Okay? And so this has been the gathering place. And so maybe that's part of why we're here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And by the way, if you move here, you get to have the same fun the rest of us do, which is whenever you mention you're in Cleveland, everybody thinks you're in Ohio. What are you doing in Ohio? No, it's Tennessee. So for some reason, half the towns in Ohio are also here in Tennessee. We've got Dayton, and we've got Cleveland, and we've got a whole bunch of them, okay? So some of you in Ohio who live in those towns, you're still in the same town. Don't worry about it. Just in a different state. Okay. So we are very blessed and excited. We have also then been blessed, as a lot of you have already gone over to look at the new property. We've been looking for a property for a long time to do Sukkot on. And after finding one, we ended up doing it on this property, which is really funny, but because we only found that property only a number of weeks ago. It was only closed on it just a week or two right before Sukkot. Okay, so it was a fantastic opportunity. 135 acres And the children are over there right now having fun and playing with the activities we have set up over there. It's beautiful. Most of it, if not all of it, is cleared. There's, I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10 ponds on the property. There's a creek that runs behind it. It's beautiful. It will be where we eventually put the MTOI headquarters, so that this property will be Beth Shalom, the congregation, and it'll also be the academy. Okay, because we have the MTOI Academy here on the property. And then all of the national and international stuff that we've been doing from MTOI point of view, including the feasts, will be moved over to the new property as we have the finances to build it. Okay, and as we've said in the past, you know, we are very, very, very diligent to not put ourselves in financial trouble. So we have not spent what we do not have, which is why you have not heard any begging for funding, okay? Which always amazed me. If you are working for the Almighty and doing the stewardship you're supposed to be doing, why would you ever need to ask for anything? You know, some people wonder, we've had people, look, you know, Marty, our sound and audiovisual guy, you know, he worked for other ministries before he found us. And part of the way he was able to quantify his value was on his ability to increase the sales of their DVDs and their CDs because of the quality of what he would do. He's the one who makes all the YouTube videos. When he came here and he found out that we give it all away free, his mind, kind of like Rocky, his mind kind of went, I can't process that, okay? What do you mean you give it all away? How am I going to measure my productivity here? I don't know, subscribership. We're almost to 26,000, okay? 27,000? 25.7, we're almost to 26,000. When he first came here, you know, we were at not even double digits, you know, so he's done a fantastic job. But the point is, not to brag or anything, but, you know, we've gave away last year, when you count the salaries of the people who are producing and the equipment and the cost of the CDs, the sleeves, the stamps, the mailers, the postage, all that, he probably spent over, I think it was $75,000 just giving away free stuff. CDs, the teachings. That's not to brag, that's just what we're supposed to be doing. You know, imagine what a ministry might charge for the Heart of the Matter 64-part series. For your donation of $300, you get 1/4 of this mailed to you for another $30. I mean, you know. But Yah is good. He owns everything, has all the abundance. And so we've been looking for a property for many, many years. And we had a few that we really thought were going to work out, and they just didn't work out. And it's because it wasn't supposed to. And we understood that. And wouldn't you know, he gave us one that's almost in walking distance. It's incredible. And it's beautiful. And it has everything that I could have asked for on a property. Okay, so hopefully all of you will get a chance to drive over there and take a look at the property. Please don't go over there when we don't have a team there to escort you around the property, okay? Don't just show up there. Okay, go there only when we're doing the property tours. There is another property right next to ours that shares a driveway, and we want to respect them. And if you don't know which part is ours and which part is theirs, you know, we don't want to trespass. We talked about that, right? Okay? And don't give the address out just to everybody, because we don't need just anybody and everybody showing up looking for it. It's private property, right? Now, it's not a secret, it's just, you know. So, let's go ahead and have a discussion about moving here. So how many of you are currently thinking about or planning to move here right now? Okay, almost everybody in the room. Because some of you I know just came to kind of, well, I don't know, but I'll look at this and see, right? So pretty much all of you think about it. So if you guys, George, if they all moved here, we're going to need 40, 50 more seats in that building, which there isn't enough room for. We may need to keep this tent. Be doing services out here forever until we can build something new. We do actually have an architect that's drawn out plans. I really still hope that it'll happen, that we'll have something for you to see before the end of the week that we can have on display, maybe in the lobby or something, so you can see it up on an easel, because we have plans to build on the concrete part of the parking lot part of the front here, in front of the building. We have plans to build a new worship center that's got seating for 350, something like that, and also a full academy building for the school. Okay? And then we'll turn the building we have now back into a gym. And we'll do our dining in that gym so we can set the tables up. We have the new commercial kitchen in there, and we'll eat in there. Okay? So that'll be fantastic. Okay. So, George, why don't you come on up here? Billy, come on up here. All right, now, you guys just hang out here for a minute. Actually, you know what? Grab that other mic, too, just right behind you. Snap it out. Don't pull it out. Apparently, it catches the ring. Just go ahead and snap it out. There you go. Okay, so before I bring those guys up and give you more information from them, you need to understand, and this is fantastic, and I'm very blessed to have a team of people, and one more person, David Hayes, who's not here because he's working with the property tours. These three guys here are primarily the ones I look to help you with the transitional stuff. Okay, so if you want to move here and you call and you ask for me, I'm probably going to send you back to one of them anyway. Unless if you're somebody I cover, then maybe we'll talk about it from a covering point of view. But if it has anything to do with the mechanics of moving or the planning of your move or asking about the area, asking about jobs, asking about housing, asking about whatever we can help you, gain information about, I will send you to them anyway, okay? So just so you know, you might want to start there before you come to me. If you don't need to, come to me for that kind of stuff. So primarily, this is the encouragement. You need to understand that we are not here to go out there looking for houses for you, or looking for apartments for you, or looking for jobs for you. You need to figure these things out before you come, okay? You also need to be planning to come with financing. You should already know that any kind of a move that you make, there's a window of time when you transition that things tend to be a little tougher. And you need to have that financial cushion set aside for that little window. Because some of you are thinking, oh, don't worry, I'll just move there and I'll find a job right away. And maybe you will. I hope you do. But what if you don't? We had a lady move here. It took her a good part of 6 months, almost a year, to find a job. Thankfully, she came well-funded to handle that. Okay? It can take a while. So if you can figure it out before you get here, all the better. And some of you have already done that. I heard you got yours, right? Yeah, that worked out good. Okay. Because I know we were waiting for that to be official. Wonderful. Okay, so you want to have these things in place. Figure you need a few months of expenses. Think about what it's going to cost you to live here, food, shelter, whatever else you need. By the way, if you're moving, are you going to need new appliances or any kind of, kitchen stuff? Or are you going to need any kind of washer, dryer? What are you going to need? Think these things through and make sure you're ready. Don't come here and then come to us because you messed up and now you need us to bail you out. Okay? We're here to help you, but we're not here to just mitigate any natural consequences of foolishness. Okay? Okay, now look, benevolence should be your last after you've tried everything. Not because we don't want to help you, but we're not codependenting with you. We're not going to enable or entitle you. We want to make sure it's helping you. Which also means if you need benevolence, you will absolutely need to counsel to figure out how you messed up so that you don't mess up again and how you can fix it. Because we want to teach you to fish. We don't want to just hand you a bunch of fish. Okay? Because otherwise you become a financial black hole, and we do not want that. It doesn't help us, it doesn't help you. Now, am I worried about our resources being depleted? No. Father has all the resources. He can always refill it anytime he wants. I don't want to actually hinder you or hurt you by helping you, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay? So think this through. Don't let your emotions drive you to make a decision prematurely before you're ready. Some of you already counseled me saying, I'm concerned, I want to make sure that I'm not getting in front of Yahweh. And then I was able to counsel and say, no, you're good. Or saying, no, you might need to wait. And that's fine. No problem wanting to be here. But you need to be ready to be here. I highly recommend that you come here. You're all here now. Those of you that are watching, if you've not been here, I recommend you come here and drive around and get a sense of the area. You may drive around and be like, I don't really like it here. Okay, so don't come. It's okay. You don't have to be here. Or you may love it, but you should come and see. We have a few unicorns out there that were able to buy a house from where they lived, having never seen it, and it worked out. Not my recommendation, by the way. It did work for them. They got a great house and they love it, but probably not the best way to go about it. I would plan to come and rent for a short period of time so that you can get familiar with the area and figure out where you want to live. You may want to live on the north side of town or the south side of town or further out in the country, although pretty much 2 seconds away from town is country, or it's often intermixed, okay? And so you can go from a subdivision and the next thing next to it is a huge pasture and a lot of property. But this way you get familiar. Because you may online think you know where something is relative to other things and get here and say, oh, I wish I was closer to this or closer to that. Although quite frankly, in Cleveland, everything is 15 minutes. Literally. From wherever you're standing, everything else you want to go to is 15 minutes. I heard somebody tell me that when I first got here, and then I've been here over a year, and it's true. Everything in Cleveland is very quick to get to and easy to get to. It's a growing town, so I want to promote from the good economy relative to the rest of the country. Businesses have moved in here, big ones like that are hiring. We have a Volkswagen plant moved in here a few years ago. They hire on a regular basis. We have two huge Amazon distribution. That's easy for me to say, isn't it? And I'm an affiliate and everything. Okay, we have 2 huge Amazon distribution centers, one in Chattanooga. There's also one here in Cleveland. Okay, the Volkswagen plant had at least announced before COVID that they were going to be expanding and putting a whole new plant on the same property building electric cars. Okay? So they're going to be hiring thousands of more people. All right? What does that mean for you? Well, I don't want to work for them. It's okay. All those people are going to need all the other businesses that those people are going to need, that you might want to work at one of those. More people, more need for every type of job, every type of business. And so this is good. It's a growing area. Okay? So again, just an encouragement before I have these guys come up, and I'm sure they're going to say the exact same thing. Plan your move. Okay? Plan it. Don't just wing it. Don't just go ahead and just throw caution and I'm just going. Because then you're going to be doing this. You're going to be knocking on the door going, Rabbi, we messed up. I'm here. We're broke. We can't know what to do. Okay, how come you're broke? You don't know what to do? Well, we came here. I didn't have a job lined up, blah, 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 blah. Okay? That's not to say we might not help you, but you might walk funny for a little while we're helping you. People come to my office sometimes and say, do you want the right one or the left one? I got 2, almost always available. Okay? And you should take it like you know you deserve it because you need to have that little wake up. Okay? Let's be smart about this because it's exciting. It's fantastic. You should all come. I think it's great. I think you'll love it. The congregation is awesome. If you got children, they should be in our academy. It's a fantastic program we have there. Okay? I mean, so we're going to open up the mic here. I'm going to bring George up. Or actually, George, you got a mic. Why don't you stand over here and you can just say hello. And is your mic not on?
Hey, everybody.
There you go.
I want to say that I find fault with one of the statements you made. Not everything is here. Trader Joe's is in Knoxville.
Okay, you're right.
And it's just very, very difficult. We almost didn't leave California just for that reason. So
It's only half an hour. Well, actually about 45 minutes or whatever for you to get there. I know your wife drives up there on a regular basis. All right. What do you want to tell them?
So, one of the things that I spent a lot of time in California working on getting people work. And so when I got here, I took the time to examine what the local economy was like. And this is at the beginning of COVID. So what you'll find is that there are lots of opportunities in hospitality. in the Chattanooga area, and just in Tennessee in general. However, with the current environment and COVID and everything that was happening, hospitality took a beating. There was an unemployment rate of 30%, lots of folks getting laid off. There's been different areas that have not recovered. What I was able to discover after reviewing the kinds of jobs that are available is that there's still work for everyone. It just depends on how much you want to do, whether or not you want to deliver pizzas or work at a Walmart or work at Amazon, or if you're a professional. There are positions in all the areas. It's a matter of whether or not you want to make that move, because the jobs are here, they're open. Rabbi frequently will teach and talk about the kind of employee you are sets you apart. And what we're hearing stories about folks who are doing these things at their places of business, and they are in fact being the ones that are being set apart. Yahweh's hand is on them. It's clear that they're walking this out. We're seeing that. But there has to be that desire within to whether or not you decide you want to be that employee. There is, there's always that potential to decide it's not a job for you. But everyone has skills that are transferable. So no matter what you're doing, where you're currently at, those skills can be converted into a different position. It's a matter of whether or not you're willing. We will come across folks that say, you know what, I don't want to do that job because I want to sit in an office. Or, have you ever sat in an office? No, but I want to sit in an office. That's not the kind of mentality you want to come here with. That's not going to serve you well. If you are good at something, let's look at that. But there are so many different ways to look for work. We have so many resources. We can put you in touch with folks. We do have a lot of opportunity here. But the one thing I will tell you more than anything is that it's up to you. You have to make that decision. I'm not going to Google the jobs for you. I'm not going to do the Indeed quick applies, okay? You're the one who has to fill out the assessments. You're the one who's going to have to go into the interviews, and we can help you with all those things. But you have to do that part. You have to be willing to take those steps, or you will be unemployed. That is your reality. So if you want work here, there is work here. We had a couple show up.
And just to be clear, work at whatever income range you're talking about, okay? We're not just saying, well, there's only the fast food or Amazon. No, there's work in every range, whatever you're used to making, whatever you do, there's work. Yeah. This is a growing town. There is everything for every professional level or every, blue collar or white collar, whatever way you want to look at it, there's work. And the governor of Tennessee has said we are open as far as lockdown. There's no lockdown. We're completely open. It's up to the counties to do what they want to do. But Tennessee is completely unrestricted at this point.
Yeah. And so what you'll find is that, we have people who will come and not find work. And then we'll have folks who, will move here. A couple just did this. They moved here. I want to say they arrived on a Friday. They came to Shabbat on totally off our radar. We try to have a good idea as far as who's coming. They moved here on Friday, came to Shabbat on Saturday, were hired someplace on Monday, the husband and wife, and they start as soon as Sukkot's over. So,
there's work.
There's work.
Yep.
If you're looking to make a certain dollar amount, that is not the same as looking for work in your field, because there's different cost of living adjustments. There's something that has to be said about that. When my wife and I moved here from California, the registration on our two vehicles in California was over $800 per year. We registered both vehicles here in Tennessee for 2 years, $81. Okay, so, insurance,
Well, it really just depends. Some
Yeah.
of you live in places that are even more rural than
Yeah.
this, and some of you live in bigger cities,
Yeah.
and that's fine. He's just saying that, look, you'll have to just make the necessary, mindset adjustment to where, from where you are to here. So some of you may think this is expensive. Some of you may think that this is incredibly cheap. It's just going to be a matter of perspective and where you're coming from, okay? And so, I'm coming from New York City originally. He's coming from California. And so we're looking at this as being very affordable for almost everything. Of course, you get paid less, so there is some sort of a balance there. And so you're going to have to work those things through. And so just keep that in mind when you're going through this. But, this is a place where, I don't want you to necessarily go into it's not that it's not scriptural, because we know that Gideon threw out the fleece. That's that where it whole starts with Gideon hanging out the fleece there. And so Christians latched onto that thought like it's a game to play, almost like having somebody do your card reading or something. Well, I put a fleece out there that if blah, 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 then that means God wants me to go. Look, you can get to the kingdom from where you live right now, and you can get there from here. Sometimes he just wants you to figure out what you want and where you want to do this. Where do you want to take this journey? It's not always about, I just want to be where he wants me to be. I think you'd be shocked to find he doesn't care as much as you think he does. I'm not saying that in any callous or I just think that it's not as important to him where you do this. Okay? It may be important to him where I do this, because I'm setting up for him a ministry. But for you to live and be a part of, whether virtually or in person, I don't know that necessarily makes that much difference. Don't put it out there that you have to try to keep figuring out what he wants. If you come here and that doesn't seem to work out, guess what? You can always move back or move somewhere else. People move all the time. But you got to first start. I always ask people the same question. When you call me to counsel about almost anything, I always start off with, what do you want? Well, I just want to do what he wants. But what do you want? Okay? Since obviously you don't know what he wants, and neither do I, because it's not like he tells me in my ear, oh, by the way, I want him or her to do, you got to figure out what you want. Do you want this idea of a community and being physically in a congregation with other people who are walking this out like you are, more than being where you are now? Don't come here for me. You can get me on the phone. You can get me on video. You're coming here because of all the other stuff, okay? And if you can't get that where I really want to come, but my children live where I'm at. How old are your children? 43 and 40. They can get on a plane. They can drive, or you could drive. Sometimes you might need to cut the cord, you know what I'm saying? Okay? After you say that, and then when I get really pushed through, I find out you don't even get along with them anyway. You haven't talked to half of them in 5 years. Oh, but they live here, and I want to make sure I'm there for them. So be there for them at a distance. You're already at a distance, even in the same town. Family doesn't always see each other. I have a first cousin, lives in Atlanta, an hour and a half away. I haven't seen her since I've been here. We don't have anything against each other. We just never were close. And she's there and I'm here. We're about the same age. You don't have to see family when you're that, You can see them when you want. You can go visit them anytime. They can come visit you. Phone calls work, FaceTime works, Zoom works, whatever. But the point is, what do you need? I shouldn't even just say, what do you want? What do you feel like you need in terms of enjoying this journey? Do you need to be around people that are thinking like you're thinking, walking like you're walking, trying to get where you're trying to go? Then maybe you need to be here. It's not that complicated. But for every choice, you're choosing to not do something else. Okay, I learned one thing in economics class in college. Well, I learned a lot of things, but the one thing that stuck with me, it was an example that they called guns versus butter, which basically had the idea of governments choosing to put money into military or putting it into infrastructure and food, that kind of thing, because you can't spend the money twice. And so I learned a concept called opportunity cost. Every choice you make means you gave up a different choice. You could have been somewhere else right now, but you're here. So you chose not to be there, you chose to be here. If you choose to stay at home, you're giving up being here. If you choose to come here, you're giving up. Everything is a choice that has a cost. You're giving up something to have something. Okay? We had a concession stand today. Actually, I'm not sure this example will work because some of you probably ate everything, but okay. But okay, you walk up to the concession. They got a hot dog, they got a hamburger, they got pizza, they got mac and cheese, they had chicken salad, egg salad. Guess what? You had to choose one. Maybe you chose two. You didn't choose all of them. Why? Because you didn't want all of them. You couldn't eat all of them. So you had to choose. Maybe they all sounded good. You go to a restaurant, you look at the menu, and it's hard sometimes because it all looks good. And you know if you pick one, that means you're picking not to get the other one. So I just wanted to, the reason I'm going through all that is because this is the same choice of coming here. All your choices are a trade-off between this or something else. If I go here, then I don't go there. If I buy this, then I don't have the money to buy that. And so all of your decisions in life are trade-offs. You just have to figure out what's the right balance that you need to have for your trade-offs. You know, what do you feel you really need more or that you want more? By the way, it's nothing wrong with wanting stuff. I say that your wanting gets you in the most trouble, but also he wants you to want the kingdom, to want the fellowship, to want to be together, to want all the things that he offers you. So it's okay to want some stuff, as long as your wanting doesn't get in the way of what he tells you you need. And that's why I always ask you, well, what do you want? Do you want to be here? Oh, yeah. But, well, which do you want more? I get that you want both, but you can't have both. You can't live in Colorado and live here, or live in Ohio and live here, or live wherever and live here. Pick one. Which means that you'll have to give up something. It's okay. It's not always an easy choice. For some of you, it was a no-brainer because you didn't have anything that you were leaving behind. Okay? Go ahead. Now that I just...
But you know what? I'm glad Rabbi said that. When, when we left California, Rabbi and I, Rabbi didn't leave California. He was here. When my wife and I left California, we had a conversation. And the borders were closing, and we weren't sure if we were going to get out of California, and COVID started. But it really prompted a conversation that we had, and I had with my wife. And the fact of the matter was, you know, when things are going on, such as the beginnings of whatever this is, the conversation my wife and I had was, if something happened to me, where would I want her to be? And the instant answer to that was here, with brothers and sisters. There was no question. She has her parents there. We have adult children. We have grandchildren. But this was the place we needed to be. We made that decision because there was no alternative. There's no place else we would rather be. And that was us coming here. That was coming here and saying, whatever it is, when we get there, you know, it was a very, you know, we had talked about coming, but I was still working when we made the decision. I gave my notice and I came because we had to get out. We just didn't want to be there. And, you know, there was no guarantee of not being unemployed with the contract I was under at the time. There were a lot of things that pushed me here.
Hold on, let me just make sure. So some of them may not be aware of this, but he didn't come here with a job offer to work here. Okay? I didn't have a job position for him when he came here. I wasn't planning to hire him when he came here. I'm just saying, so he didn't come here, because some of you might be thinking, well, sure, George, easy for you. You had a job with MTOI. He did not when he came here.
Walmart was in my future.
Okay? All right, so just so you know, that was not the case, although because of the growth and everything that was happening and the burden that was on the staff, we made a decision, because he was volunteering and helping so much in those areas while he was looking for his other opportunities. And he really had just gotten to the point where he was telling me, I can't keep doing the volunteering. I really need to get out there and get this job done. And I was actually going up to him going, George, when are you going to get that job? That we then turned around and offered him one because we actually needed him and he was already doing some things. But the point is, he didn't come here with this, all right? Because some of you may be thinking that. I just want to clarify that.
So,
and neither did Billy, by the way. All right?
Yeah, both of us, Billy and I both came here looking for work somewhere else. This wasn't the plan. At least it wasn't our plan. With the position I had in California, the agency I was with was responsible with getting people to work. When I say getting people to work, I mean getting them to work off of government assistance. And what I would frequently say to them is something I've said to folks here, and that is, I don't care what you do, but you need to do something. So if you're somewhere now and you're not doing anything, doing something is the first step. Okay. So that, Rabbi teaches self-awareness. He talks about it. If you're not doing something, we need to have a conversation as to why you're not doing something. Okay. Because that's the first step to actually getting your first job or the next job. There are a lot of things that happen in people's lives, a lot of tragedy. We need to move past those things. And we are here, and Rabbi is here through counseling to help you move past that, whatever that might be, so that you can get that next job. But you'll never get a job unless you start looking. And so these are some of the things that are critical here. And there's an abundance. We're blessed to have an abundance here locally.
All right, I want to open up, and somebody think, well, what about Billy? Billy's got basically somebody I will send you to when you have finance issues to help you work your budget. He's got training in that. We recently had him go through a mastery course through the Dave Ramsey program about helping people with their finances. So if you have financial questions, I did put out a money mastery class that all of you should take if you've not done that before, to help you understand how, it's very straightforward. There's not a lot of like stories and things and stuff like they do in a lot of the programs. It's just, this is very practical, how to get your finances starting to get in the right direction, okay? And Billy is exceptional at working with those things. But what I'd like to do now at this point is let you raise your hands. You can go down there and get them a mic as they raise their hands and let you guys ask us some questions. Actually, you know what, George? If you want to answer questions, I want to let Billy take the mic around. And you can stay up here with me and I can let you answer some questions too. See, that was one of the things that, you see Abba's hand in things? Yeah, I was going to tell you, mute that before you go in front of the speaker. Okay. Is that, in talking to George as he was planning to come here, is that he literally was working in an industry, although we did actually counsel about it before you took that job, that we knew would be helpful here eventually. The training that he would get working for that nonprofit that he worked for to help people, get out of the rut they're in of needing help all the time and getting to a place where they could take care of themselves. And that's just fantastic how that worked out. Okay, who's got the mic? Okay, Chris, go ahead.
I have two questions. One is about colleges in Cleveland or around, and then the other question about entrepreneurial opportunities, like working with other MTOI members or just entrepreneurship in general.
Okay, that's like 3 questions, so we'll try to answer them. All right, first of all, colleges. MTOI University is still in the works and planning. As well as having a yeshiva part of that so that people can come and do ministerial and Hebraic studies and covenant studies. Okay, covenant study program. But as far as the colleges in this area, the main deal here is a Christian college, Lee University. It's a good school, but it's obviously a very Christian focus. But within a half-hour drive, you're in Chattanooga with all the schools that are in Chattanooga. There's some decent ones there that you can go to. So look into those down there. Okay, Chat State and other colleges are down in the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Things like that are in Chattanooga. They're not that far, okay? Because from here to downtown Chattanooga is about 45 minutes maybe, okay? So things are not that far. And also rush hour traffic here is like, well, there isn't any. Unless you're going around downtown, as you circle around the bottom of Chattanooga, it hooks to go up towards Nashville. At 5 o'clock, that is a parking lot for about 30, 40 minutes. So it's not like New York or California where rush hour is 3 hours, okay? And up here, the worst is actually on the side streets as people are trying to get off of work and go home, as opposed to the highway. The highway is actually not that crowded up here at rush hour, so it's not bad at all. So that's question 1. Universities, you'll have to look around and see, okay? If it's on. You want it on.
We do have some current and former college students in the local, from the local area in the congregation, and we can put you in touch with them.
Yep. Okay. As far as Chat State, Connor, you went to Chat State for a little while, so Connor could talk to you a little bit about Chat State, okay? The second question you had to do as far as people who have maybe opportunities to hire you here that are in the congregation that you were asking? Or, well, entrepreneurship's a whole different deal. Okay, entrepreneurship is you running your own business. That's a really good question. I probably should address that for all of you. It's really not what this is all about, but how many of you have heard the phrase side hustle? And all the guys out there saying you need one. I agree, by the way. I'm a big fan. But the problem is most of you missed the first part of the word, side. You're thinking about a hustle that's going to just immediately replace what you're doing. No, it's something that's on the side while you're doing your primary thing, okay? Let's keep that in mind. Now, when your side hustle, which is you, by the way, that's the other part of it, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to hustle. I don't mean hustle like take advantage of you. I mean you have to work hard and get going and move, all right? It's like when Arnold says, sleep faster. Okay? You think you need 8 hours sleep? Fine, sleep faster. He thinks you only need 6. Okay, don't argue with me about the health ramifications. There are 18 hours in a day, or 16 if you want to sleep 8 hours. You should be working all of them if you want to get your side hustle to take the place of your primary. But you don't switch until your side hustle is out producing your primary. You don't take a loss because you think it's getting close, because what if it gets close and then doesn't make it? What if it never gets any more? Don't switch till the side hustle actually is making more. So what is the reason? Look, I've never really worked a job except for the purpose of refunding myself to work on myself. So I've had lots of jobs. Anytime what I did didn't work, often happens, by the way, in entrepreneurship. So just when you know, I said this earlier in one of the teachings, 4 out of 5 businesses fail in the first year. Another 4 out of 5 of those fail in the first 5 years. Those are not good numbers, okay? 80% the first year, another 80% the next 5. A very small percent make it. Mostly because of what? They run out of money, okay? Because it takes more money than they thought or more money to fix all the mistakes they made because they didn't know what they were doing. And by the time they figured it out, they went broke. So it's not like their idea was a bad one necessarily. Sometimes it was. But the entrepreneurship is a great thing to do. Have a side hustle. Have 3 of them. You got 16 hours. Work. A lot of people will say to me, "Oh, Rabbi, you have a nice house, this, that." I said, "I work more than you. And I have for the last 40 years. And don't look at me like, "Well, how do you know?" I know. You're whining about the 40 hours you put in now. Okay? I get done with my first part of the day and I'll turn to my wife saying, "I'm going to my second shift." And I go down to my basement office and I work for another 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever it is at that time of night. When I'm not spending the necessary time with my wife and my kids or eating or sleeping, I'm working. I didn't have to take other counseling sessions for you guys. I didn't have to be and do all the classes that I'm giving you extra stuff. I tell people when I come to visit, like a congregation, like if I go to Ohio or some other place, they say, "Well, what's your availability when you get here?" I said, "I'm available 24/7 till you put me back on the plane. I'm here to work." Guess what? You were created to work 6 days. Not a few hours for the 6 days. 6 days you shall work. We're lazy. That's okay if you don't want all of that. Then don't complain. Own your choice. "Well, Rabbi, I don't want to work that hard." Fine, then be happy with what you have. I don't think you need to have more than you have. Don't think I'm not one of those out there thinking, "Oh, you should have a lot more." No, you should be happy. And so if you don't have enough to be happy, then you should do more to have what you need to be happy. To enjoy life. And you don't need a huge amount to enjoy life, but if you're struggling, look, if you have more month at the end of the money, Anybody have that problem? Then you're probably not happy, okay? It's very stressful. It steals your joy. So then figure out what you need to do. Get a second job. Do more work. Don't whine and complain and blame everybody else. Get out there and get it done, especially all you guys. Men, your wives should have the option not to work. They should have the option. I didn't say they shouldn't work. They should have the option not to work. If the ladies want to work, great, work. Some of you ladies have great careers and you love what you do and you're a blessing in what you do and you're fabulous. But if you're doing your job, they should not need. You understand the difference, what I'm trying to say here? Because then you are properly the provider, protector. They don't need to, then they have even more joy doing what they do. Because they're doing it because they love it. It's what they want to do. Let's get that done. All right? Amen? Okay. And don't tell me, but I'm 50 years old. You can start now. Listen, if all this went away, like tomorrow, trust me, I would start from scratch and make it happen in short order. I mean, if I literally had to do something other than this, because I'm not saying start another ministry. I mean, if I literally had to just go, get a job, and I would promise you I'd have a business in short order because I would get a job, save the money, get 2 jobs, save the money, and plan with side hustles what I'm going to do next to make a living to provide for my family. But you're going to have to go out there and do it. You know the secrets to success? Just do it. Just get out there and get it done. Get her done. All right? No, we whine, we complain. We sound like Israelites. Not the good version either, okay? The kind that ended up dead in the desert. All right, next question. Where's Billy? I asked you to take around a mic and you went and hid in the corner. All right. TL from FTL. Give it to him with it on already. If the light's on, it's on now. So push the button. There you go.
How's the environment here in Cleveland for retirement? My wife and I are close, about 2.5 years away of fully retiring. So what is the atmosphere here? Is it a good place to just get a piece of property, sit back, and live on our retirement? That's my question.
I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for, right? If you're looking for any kind of property, all that's here. I mean, you can get some really nice houses. You can get a nice piece of property, put a little farmhouse on. You can have quiet. You can be a little more busy. I mean, everything in the spectrum is covered here. Okay, you go into some big cities, you don't have all of those type of choices. But here, you've got the only thing you don't have here is beachfront. Okay, so you're coming from FTL, you've got beachfront, okay? He's from Fort Lauderdale. What? There's lakefront. You got enough property, you might have a big pond on it. There's pond front. Okay? All right? Most of the houses here have these giant culverts and ditches in front of the house for the water to run off when it rains. You have culvert front. Okay? All right? But look, when you say retirement, it's what do you picture your retirement to be like? Okay? We got some people here that are retired. You know what they do? They show up at the building every day saying, hey, can I help with something? And amazingly, we always have something for them to do. I can tell you this about retirement, because after all, at 57, I'm an expert. No, but I've watched my parents and I've watched other people, and I've counseled people that have either been successful or not successful retiring. This is the most important thing to give you for retirement. I'm not making a joke either. Have something to do. Don't think of retirement as, I'm going to now kick back and relax and have nothing to do. You will hate that. You'll like it for a day, or maybe 3 days. Have something to do. It doesn't have to be a business or a job, but plan something to do. My father, when he retired, did desktop publishing on the side, turned it into a business, and he did just enough for the local printers who would get something they needed laid out or designed or a newsletter or some other thing or business card, just enough to stay busy. And he made just enough to buy the new computer once a year that he needed or a piece of equipment. He didn't make any money at it, but he was busy. And he was happy in his retirement because he had something to do. Okay? Plan to have something to do. It could be a hobby that you love, just something to do. Okay? Being bored will kill you. All right? I'm just telling you right now. All right.
So if one thing, though, I want to add to that is, if you're planning on moving to Cleveland, you got to ask yourself what that means. You know, does moving to Cleveland mean living 40 miles from here? You know, if you're coming here and you're 40 miles away, you know, are you going to be at the building every day to help out if that's what you're looking to do? So, you know, a lot of folks will move but say, I want to get close to Cleveland, but not too close. So, I mean, these are realities that we see and we hear. You know, if you're living in Chattanooga, that's not Cleveland. It's close, but it's not that close. So, you know, if you're looking to be at the building and volunteering all the time, think about where you want to live.
Well, that's part of why I said you should rent first. Okay? I know some of you have an emotional thing against renting because you were told, as I was as a kid, you're just flushing your money away and everything else. No, it's buying you time to make the decision you need to do. And it's not flushing your money away. You're getting value. You are living in a space that you're paying to live in that you don't own. It's an exchange. It's like renting a hotel when you stay for a couple of days in a hotel or a B&B or whatever, but this is just longer. It's a couple of months. But if you're going to retire, the same thing. I would come here first, spend some time, rent something, and see where you want to be. Drive around, see what things are like. Figure out how close you want to be. Look, Rabbi Tom and his wife, when they first came, they didn't know us that well. And so they chose to live in North Georgia, a good 45 minutes away from where we were in Chattanooga, just to have a little cushion from whatever they didn't know this ministry that well when they first came. And immediately after they got to know us, they regretted being that far away. Now he can almost ride his scooter from where he lives across the street to here. Okay? He's literally that close. And so he would have liked to have maybe rented first and then seen, instead of owning. And it worked out because he has twin boys who ended up buying his place from him, and they're living it down there, and that worked out. But I'm just saying for you, I highly encourage you, go ahead and rent first. There's plenty of places to rent, whether it's a house or an apartment, and drive around and get a sense of where things are. Some people, like my wife, for example, like to be within 5 minutes of her job. If she could work near where she lived, that was the best. So if you're not retiring, but you're working, and you like to live near your job, then that may make a big difference. So if your job is in Chattanooga, maybe it's more important to you to live near your job than to live near the congregation. You'd rather commute to the congregation once a week or twice a week if you come to Torah study than every day to your job. Or maybe you don't mind commuting to your job, you want to be close. That's your choice. Next question. Okay, Shaquez.
Two questions. One, if you are someone who doesn't drive, are there public transportation options? And two, if you are low income, are there different kind of, I know there's probably Section 8, but are there things like HUD and buildings like that?
So public transportation in Cleveland is definitely lacking. Yeah,
It's almost non-existent.
Yeah. You know, we do have all the same social services that other folks have. You know, it is this is a small community. Rabbi, what is it? 40,000, 50 something? 45,000.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, this is a small town, but for some folks who are coming from, cities or towns of 1,000, This is a relatively large metropolis. So, perspective again. But, we do have social services here. We do have other agencies that we work and coordinate with. One of the things that Rabbi has encouraged us to do in the office, especially working with Billy, is we have this conversation in-house so that we can help because, since we're family, we take care of our family, and families kick each other when they need to be kicked. And, the papa disciplines when it needs to happen. It's the kind of thing where, if you're going to get it straight from somebody, it might as well be your family. So that's where this comes in.
Look, let me say, we do have, like you said, we have income restricted housing. There are people we have had that we helped, refer over, and they got on the list because you have to get on a list, and they let you know when your time, because it's based on availability. Okay, and so we have those places around here, and again, but there are also places, depending on where you end up living, that lots of other people who have moved here are living. That you might get the assistance you need, where rides to services, rides to the supermarket. You can get rides to almost anywhere because you'll have plenty of people around. That we have this one apartment complex near here that has, I don't know, easily 30 or 40 or 50, I don't know how many people are in that complex that are MTOI people. Matter of fact, we wanted to buy the place just because we figured we have so many people living there. But we have a lot of people that have moved here end up in the same apartment complex. So, and you're welcome to check it out too if they have availability there, which means there'll be other people that might be able to give you rides and help you out. You're also more than able to, if you are literally handicapped or needing assistance or on disability or any other thing like that, you can call us and say, hey, is there anybody that can help me get to or go to the store, do whatever, and we'll help you. We have people that will, part of the volunteers, like the retired people that are around, will be very happy to come and get you and drive you to the store or go pick you up and drop you off somewhere. We're a community. Amen. All right, Michelle?
Thank y'all. I don't have much of a voice, so if I go silent, it's not the mic, it's me. I'm with Chuck West on the low income. However, I do have a power chair, and I would need a place really close to here so that I could travel like Rabbi Tom, and we could race here some days, Is that possible, around this area, close enough that I could travel in my chair?
I'm not sure that there's going to be the type of income housing that's close enough with your chair, but I can tell you that Rabbi Tom does have a lift on the back of his vehicle that we could possibly use to get you somewhere. And if we have enough people like that, we can always take one of the vehicles we have and we'll add a lift on the back of it so that we could be able to put your chair on the back and get you to where you need to go. In the past, we've had a handicap bus that we owned where we were able to actually lift you up and strap in your chair in the back of it, and we had seats there and we could go. There's lots of options. As needed, we will provide what's needed for the community. Okay?
I think that's a lot like this feast, where as the situation comes, we'll figure it out. The same way, we just have to keep being forgiving with each other to make sure we're trying to figure this out and make this work. So I mean, there's a lot of that.
All right, let's just throw this out there again. This is not looking for big rounds of applause, and we're so impressed. But we have a lot of people here on some level of benevolence. We have all of you are actually on some level of benevolence in that we did not charge you what we should have or could have, considering what we spent to put this together. Okay? Okay, this tent that you're in how many of you ever been in a tent that has a floor in it and everything? Okay? We put all this together, I can't even tell you the price, it's not even relevant. But we had the funds to do it. Why? Because we wanted you to be able to go somewhere and keep Sukkot, and we had lost any ability to find any place else to do it. So we decided we'll just spend the money and do it. And we'll charge you what we thought you could at least afford, and less than a lot of places charge who don't do this, because we wanted to make sure that people could come. And that's why we have about 450 of you here, 420, whatever it is. Okay? And so just so you know, that's the heart and the mindset and the approach. They will tell you, Billy will tell you, Manny will tell you, when people ask, my answer is always, take care of them. Make it happen. Okay?
Okay, I have to jump in now since Rabbi opened this. Sorry, Rabbi. So, one of the things that, this is preparation for the wedding feast, yes? Rabbi, he wants everyone here to enjoy this and to partake in this in a way where there is no better feast than this feast. With no exception, if anyone has ever been somewhere else where you have been taken care of better than this, I really want you to come and see me. Because, one of the things that Rabbi and I understand is, he wants your experience to be like the Ritz-Carlton. Because the Father's heart, just does something for his children. And that's what Rabbi wants for all of you here. And so it has been my honor to do this and be a part of this with Rabbi, because I've seen him do things I've never seen before. And it truly has just wowed me. And it's just been remarkable to see the way this has, just begun. We're only in day 3, so I just had to say that.
I mean, look, even to, if you've already gone out there and used them, the quality of those restrooms, okay? I think they're nicer than the ones we have inside. They're royal. That's what it says on the outside of the restroom. They're royal. No, I mean, they're not like, a porta potty. I mean, these are actually trailers that are nice. They even have pictures on the walls. I walked in and said, really? Wow. Okay? So it's a fantastic job. But I'm just saying is, so when you come here, understand, we will want you to do everything that you can. But you can count on us doing everything that is necessary to help you that you can't. Not that you won't. If you won't, you're going to find one boot or the other, or we'll just tell you you're on your own. I can't deal with won't. We have a lot of people out there that are really struggling to grow up an adult. And if you know that's what you need, this is probably a great place for you to come, because you'll have to figure it out when you get here. Okay? But we will help you. We'll help you figure it out from where you are, because I can't just preach to you that you can get there from here and not help you do it. But I'm not going to do it for you. Amen?
Amen.
All right.
Okay, I just had a question. I am a small business owner. Animals, dogs, cats, grooming and stuff like that. How's the area for that? Boarding, daycare?
You have one client right here as soon as you get here.
There's a lot of dogs, cats, and all that here. I can tell you that. So,
Yeah. We've had Rabbi has told the story of Steve Waffle, who had a business in Illinois successfully, left that with his counsel, came here, replanted, and has been more successful here. But I think that that is something that it would be wise of you to discuss with Rabbi. But I would absolutely say, that decision, is, we've seen that play out.
all right, let me kind of from an entrepreneurial business point of view. And I wear a lot of hats. I have a lot of experience in a lot of different things, so I'm qualified actually to talk about things like this. You want to be someplace where a lot of people are doing what you do, with their mindset being there is no competition. I'm better. I'm more cost effective. People will want me because I'm better. They will get better service, better quality, whatever it is that you do. And so they'll at a better price, so they'll come to you. So that's why you want to know that there's other people doing it. You don't want to come to a place where nobody's doing it, because you will kind of wonder, why isn't anybody doing it? But you have to be committed to the idea that, but nobody can compete with me because I will give them better. Okay? Same thing when you go for a job. Yeah. Look, we've got a young man who's not here right now because he's working, and he's in his early 20s. I mean, like really early 20s. Started working at Domino's. They had him, driving initially, then in the place. Next thing you know, because of his work ethic, they were going to ask him to maybe be a manager or a shift manager and those kind of things. And he said, look, but I keep Shabbat. And they were not sure they really wanted to do that, but they were going to call him. But he was the best worker they had. So guess what? He doesn't work Shabbat. They hired him still now to be a manager. The owner now has bought multiple new stores, and now they want to maybe make him a regional manager. He's in his young 20s. Why is this happening? Because he's the best employee they have. Okay? If you are working anywhere for anybody with half a brain, okay? I'm serious. This is not a joke. They know how expensive it is to find one good worker. So if you're a good worker, I mean great worker. I mean, you're like that hard to find unicorn worker that's so good and valuable and trustworthy and shows up and does their work, doesn't steal people's time, doesn't waste time, doesn't whatever, learns everything, always says yes. Guess what? You can almost ask for anything you need because they will do whatever they need to keep you, because they'll understand the value of that. So this is a guy who now manages a store. He's the only manager anywhere in the company that doesn't work Saturday. I'm serious. And because the franchise owner said, because he's the best. I can't find anybody this good. His numbers are great. He gets everything done. The store's in the best condition. That's what you need to do, whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're bringing a business in, like this lady said here, or if you're going to go work at any job. You should know that you could start at McDonald's tomorrow, and they'll be wanting to offer you a regional position running them in a few months if you're that good. Be always the best, but also be willing to cross-train, learn everything. You know who they don't fire? The person that knows all the stuff that nobody else knows. The person who does all the things nobody wants to do. Be that most valuable person. That's all you have to, that makes you stand out. And guess what? I learned this lesson when I was selling insurance. Yes, keep track. This is one of the 55 things I've done. Okay? I was in my 20s, and they had these annoying, useless sales meetings every now and then. On a regular schedule, they had these meetings. And I went one time and I said, how come Frank isn't at the meeting? They said, because Frank's the top producer, 25 years old. He could do whatever he wants. See, he was top producer. I said, how come Frank doesn't have to do this? Rainmaker. He makes the most money. Nobody's going to say boo to him. Be that irreplaceable, valuable, high-valued person, and you can say, I need the feast off. Well, we never do that for anybody. That's okay. I'll get another job. And let them think about how hard it would be to replace you. How many people that went through just to find you? And I'm telling you right now, most people are absolutely useless and lazy. You work with them, you know. You know. I'm serious. You got to love the socialists out there. I'm like, you have a problem, all you socialists. You're expecting everybody to work. Good luck with that. I mean, you're expecting them to be handed everything, but they're all supposed to work.
Doesn't work.
Go out there in the job world and see how many people actually work. Do you know there's a company out there, I forget if it was in California or somewhere else, they did an experiment. They asked people to give an absolutely fully focused, uninterrupted 3 hours a day, and guess what? They got the same amount done that most people did in 8 hours a day, and they had them working 3-hour work days. Provided they gave it an absolute, full focus 3 hours. Because the average person wastes at least half their day playing around with papers on their desk or moving things around or looking at their phone or on Facebook or some other thing. He said to his employees, I want to do an experiment. And he pays them for the 8. But he's saving a lot of money on all the other building expenses because they're getting it all done in 3. Think about what your boss will see. Look, I worked in Wall Street. I was doing, and I see another job, right? It was Wall Street. It was financial publishing. So this is the kind of stuff that before the digital world took over with the computers, people had on their desk with the stocks and all the earnings and all the stuff that these companies were publishing, so that all of the big investment houses had these on their desk. Okay, I was working for a branch of Dun & Bradstreet, okay? And we had, as a publishing company, deadlines. You had to produce so many of these call notices for different investments and different bonds and stuff. You had to be able to publish so many a day. I had to print out and review and edit and make them ready. I had a quota to produce. I got it done by lunch, and then I took a long lunch and hung out in the park outside looking at the pigeons, listening to the ball game. Because I could do what everybody else took all day long to do, because I could laser focus for 4 hours and get it done. Do you understand what I'm saying? And of course, I was a young man, so I didn't think, well, let me do the full 8 hours, give them laser focus. But then I made everybody look bad, and then they all got mad at me. So I did just enough to be better than them, so I was top, but not enough to make them all look bad. And then I cruised. Got it done quick, had an easy afternoon. But I'm just saying, think about it. I walked into a commodities broker. See, we're going to go through a lot of jobs here. Went to a commodities broker job in Florida. This is in Tampa. And I said, look, I'd like to come down because I was trading with them. I was actually just an investor with them. I was a trader. They were my broker. I wanted the software to have at home so I could do what they were doing, but the software was expensive. I didn't know how to use it. I said, okay, let me come down, work for you for 6 months, learn the software. Then when I go home, I'll know how to use it. Meanwhile, I get to live in Florida for 6 months. I get a job. I get paid. What could be better? I was single. So I went down to Florida, stayed there for 2 days, walked around, watched everybody in their office, and the boss there said to me, so what do you think? I said, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to take the job, and I'll tell you what, if I do, I'll be your top producer in 6 months. He said, well, that's pretty cocky. I said, no, guys, they're not doing anything. They're working at half speed. I was wrong. It took me 7, but I got there, okay? Because he thought I was just being cocky. I said, I'm not being cocky. I'm looking at what they're doing. I'm watching them. They're kicked back and taking it easy. I said, I'll blow past them like they're going in backwards. And I did. But it got some of them mad because top producer got the parking spot in the building. Otherwise, you had to park on the street. And the guy who always had that wasn't happy with me. I said, well, start making more phone calls, do more business. These are all to make the point. Are we making the point? I know we're talking about moving here, but part of it is also about you might not be able to move here if you can't figure out how to be a better producer to do what you're supposed to do. Okay? Abba didn't call you to be lazy. He called you to be diligent. He said, 6 days you shall work. I got people doing 10-hour shifts, working 4 days, or 12-hour shifts, working 3 days a week, and whining about it. I'm like, what do you do with the other 3 days? They're like, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean, what do I mean? You got 3 more days. Well, I already worked 36 hours. I do that in 2 days. You worked 36 hours. Do you understand? I'm 57. I haven't slowed down. I'll be 87. I promise you won't slow down. Does that make any sense here? Amen. Next question. And by the way, the person who was whining about working the 3 days then was also whining why he couldn't pay his bills or couldn't have money to go do certain things. I was like, because you're sitting at home. Oh, but I worked so hard for 3 days. What do you want? A lollipop? I don't know. Do you need a diaper change? What? Get your thumb out of your mouth, change your diaper, go get another job on the side. See, some of you thinking, I guess I don't want to move there. This is too hard. Some of the wives are thinking, oh man, my husband needs this. And some of you do. All right? All right, who's next? Okay, live stream.
Okay, William R. is wanting to know, says, are there going to be any apartment complexes on the new property?
Okay, we do not have any housing ideas yet for the new property. When I originally wanted to do the new property, okay, it came out of a Sukkot, because almost every Sukkot, this is what happens. A bunch of people are sitting, eating, and then somebody has the brilliant idea, wouldn't it be great if we could do this all the time? If we all just lived in the same place, on the same property, had a real community. Anybody have those conversations already? Okay? So we did too, every year. And so we did think about looking for a property where people could actually live on the property, etc. It's very complicated to put that together. We have looked into it. The most complicated part about it, by the way, is the transference of ownership of property. What that means is, let's say you are part of our MTOI community, and we give you a little space, and you can have that space and build your little house on it, do what you want to do. And then, I don't know, 5 years from now or whatever, you decide, I really don't have any interest in this group anymore. Okay? Because you got the right foot or the left and you didn't like it. Okay? And so you want to leave. Well, if you have the full ownership of that little space, you could sell that to anybody. Guess what? Very quickly, the community is no longer the community. So there are some real estate vehicles, legal vehicles, that you can put property in the structure of that would allow for, if you owned it and had certain rights to it, almost like you would think of like a co-op or a condo, where it really is yours, but it really isn't yours type of thing, okay? More the co-op, where you have to have approval before somebody else could get it. Really, the way it would have to be structured is that MTOI would get it back, and you would be compensated what you put into it, not the current value. You would not be in the community for an investment. Oh, but when I got the property, it was blah, 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 and now it's 5 times more valuable. So what? This wasn't an investment. You want an investment, go buy something out there somewhere and rent it to somebody. This is meant to be part of a community. The property belongs in the community, and the community gets to decide who gets to live there next. I don't mean the community, actually the leadership does. We're not having the community vote on that. Okay? I would decide through the leadership. Okay, so yes, we've thought of these things. The first thing, if anything, that would be on the property or that we would have somewhere, I have had plans for, is something for the older ladies especially. Okay, those that are widowed or just don't have any husbands around or whatever it is, and they're older, and it would be nice to live in a community with the ladies together. We'd have a maintenance person that would be there that you could call on to make sure to take care of all the physical needs in the building. Okay, and you'd have a place to live and be safe, but also have a little bit of community with the ladies there together. Okay, does that make sense? Does that sound good for, okay? That would be my first housing-related idea. Now, before all of that, though, we're wanting to focus on making it a feast site. And the feast site, we're also looking to have indoor, rentable, or usable housing, hotel-style housing on the property. Okay? So I'm not sure how many we'll be able to put, but we'll have like at this property we used to go to, they had a building that had 8 rooms on one floor, 8 rooms on the other floor, so they had 4 on each side of the hallway, okay, on each floor. Each room had either 2 fulls or 2 queens, shower, just like a hotel, okay? And so we are planning to do that so that when people come to the feast, rather than having to find all the hotels that are out here, you could stay on the property. We would have control over that environment, okay? And all of that's going on there. So that would be the first type of housing that we'd be looking to put on the property. All right, next question.
All right, Karen M. wants to know, how is the internet, if they want to come here for telecommuting to their job, how's the internet in town?
Okay, the internet is very fast in certain areas, certain parts of it, just depends on where you go. It's getting better, and the reason is because Chattanooga has the fastest internet in the country, maybe the world. Okay, their standard speed is a gig now, I think, almost. When I first moved to Chattanooga, before I moved here, they started off at 30 up, 30 down. That was 8 years ago. Most places would offer you like maybe 27, download and maybe a 7 upload or something like that. Hold on one second. Hello. You're live and on YouTube. Okay, I'll have Stacia call you. All right, bye. Caleb. Okay. Sorry, but that was something that did need to be handled. So give Caleb a call. All right, so what was I talking about? Oh, internet. All right, so they have a sign driving into Chattanooga that says, "Welcome to Gig City." Okay? I think their normal speed is 100 each way, and then they have, if you want to pay like $5 or $10 a month more, you get a gig. So the speeds are incredible, and now Chattanooga being so close, Cleveland is trying to compete. Because the guys who give you the gig over there are trying to get into Cleveland. The people here don't want that. So the people here in the government say, well, then compete with them. And so they're starting to bring the speeds up a lot. I think we have in this building now, I think we're getting 100.
Actually, when I tested it yesterday, my desk was over 200. So.
Over 200,
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so, but bear in mind, if you get out into the more rural areas, okay, if you get out into the more of the country, you might not only have internet problems, you might not even have your phone working very well. So it depends on, where you end up being, okay? And so, you got me curious now. So let me just go ahead and see what it is here.
I hope you have the good Wi-Fi.
Okay, which Wi-Fi am I supposed to be on? You know what? I'm not even testing it. Wait, that's not the Wi-Fi I'm on. Apparently, I'm on the good one.
The premium one.
The premium one. Okay, let's see what this ends up. Well, I'm out here on my phone. I don't know if it's working that way correctly. That is not. Well, even look, out here in the tent, out with all the stuff going on, I'm still getting a 21 download and about a 10 upload. It's not terrible. So you can commute easily with that, all right? Because you could live stream with just, barely into double digits, 10, 12, 14 download and upload. You can go ahead and do that, upload at least. Next question. Okay, Shaquez? Or somebody else, where'd the mic go? Okay.
Just in line with the question with the woman who has the business with the grooming, are there other animal-related industries? Is it thriving here? Are there things like an ASPCA if you want to volunteer, or something like a PetSmart? And
Oh, there's PetSmarts for sure. There's definitely chickens, horses, cows, and everything else going on around here. For those that are into the hunting seasons, we have plenty of deer as well. Okay, go ahead. Okay, please hand the mic to people with it already on. There you go.
You kind of almost touched on it earlier.
Put it right in front of your mouth.
Are there opportunities within the community for business owners that will hire newcomers?
It just depends on what you do and if somebody's hiring at the time.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, but let me throw a very important word of caution out there. All right? On the surface, if you've never done it, hiring family or close friends or community people seems like a great idea. Okay. Obviously, you've never done it. Anybody ever worked with family? Ever want to do it again? And it's not because, as a community, they're so bad. It's because if something goes wrong, it's really tough because people get easily offended, people get upset, and or they don't say anything when they should because they're afraid to hurt someone's feelings. It can go very bad. Okay? There's a lot of potential downside to that. And so I'm not a big fan of encouraging everybody, you really should hire within our community first. Although I wish I could. Problem is, some of the people that come into the community are the same lazy people I talked about earlier, right? And they're not going to get it done. They're not going to show up on time. They're not going to be reliable, okay? And so, and some of you are thinking, well, I wouldn't do that, but others would, and it's just a tough thing, okay? So let's just be careful with that, because the last thing you want to do is wreck a friendship or relationship or have somebody quit the ministry because they'll blame me because somebody connected with us, hired them, and it went bad somehow. By the way, it's not just the workers. The employer could be awful. Because there are some awful employers out there, and some of them, believe it or not, will end up here. because we have people here, which means you have the full spectrum of good and bad, competent and incompetent, okay? It's a full spectrum. Okay, who's got the mic? All right, Christine?
Hey, Rabbi. I know the kids' activity will be ending soon. Stephanie just sent out a message that they have to be picked up in like 15 minutes. I was wondering if anyone has any academy questions, because I know some of the parents might have to leave to go pick up their kids.
Yeah, anybody planning to move have a question for our academy director? No. Okay, there you go. Okay, question had to do with age levels and grade levels.
Okay, so we serve toddlers all the way up to 12th grade. We have a full Montessori program for toddlers, preschool, and kindergarten, and then a blend of traditional approaches and Montessori for 1st through 12th. So toddlers would be walking, when they're walking. Any other questions? So I can...
How many people in the program now?
We have 28. Yes, there are openings. Rabbi, did you want to talk about your policy on letting families into the academy?
Which policy was that? I've got a lot of them.
So Rabbi doesn't say no. All families, regardless of financial capability, are welcome in our program. We have George and Billy, who provide a wonderful financial aid program, which entails a lot of what George has already talked about, helping you put together resources to get work or enhance your training and your skill level, and then also volunteer work to help offset some of the fees.
Okay, so my policy in general for all things is to try to say yes to anything that would be beneficial to you. But bear in mind, that falls into the same category we talked about earlier. If you need assistance because your children should be in the program, but you can't afford to pay the full tuition for them to be in there, you will have to meet with our financial team, openly disclose why you can't afford to do this, because it may be your own fault, which is the hard part. If it's not, people are more free to tell us, hey, I'm on disability and I can't afford this. But others have to sit there and own, I've messed up, I don't have any idea what I'm doing with my career and my finances. And then we will put you on a program of, we expect you to do this, this, and this, and we will help you and guide you what to do. And as long as you are working in the right direction, everything will be fine. Okay?
Angelic, do you have a question?
Well, hold on for the microphone, please. I know all of you that might be waiting for the Shofar Clinic, you'll just have to wait. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is kind of something I've been thinking a lot about, and I'm just going to put it out there. Is there any possibility for like boarding, bringing children in, like families that would open up their homes and let a child come in and do
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay.
Okay. But it is something that we probably should consider that might work at some point. But again, we always have to talk about and study out all the legal and risk factors that that entails. Okay? Because that's a huge responsibility, obviously.
I just wanted to know the regular tuition. If you don't need assistance, how much is it per child? Or are there multiple sibling discounts and that kind of thing?
Excellent question, because I have no idea. By the way, that's something you learn, is I try to never get bogged down on the money side as long as we have it and try to do what we can.
I actually have a full enrollment package if anybody is interested. And then I have I can give you a lot of information, like bird's eye level, like a some basic information. I can give you as much detail as you need. We can set up a time to talk if you would like. Finances, I have a whole page of information for you. So then we can set up a time to talk about that.
Okay, excellent.
Oh,
Which way is the mic going?
now I'm passing the mic around.
Oh, for Christine, okay. All right, Christine, walk up the staircase, come up here. Okay, get your notes. We'll have her come up here so you can have the other mic.
Well, Christine's coming up. You know, some of the stuff that we've talked about doing with tuition assistance, you know, figuring out ways to get the parents involved through volunteering, but also encouraging our young students to take ownership and be a part of it through work study. So it's not just mom and dad who have to do the volunteering, but we want the kids doing that as well, so that they understand that there's value and there's stakeholders in their own future. So that's something that we're looking forward to do.
Amen. Okay, go ahead and ask the question.
Okay. Okay. So you answered the price, and I guess the email. How can they contact you so they can? Some people are wanting to know, I guess, the costs and everything, so they can go ahead and start budgeting for that before they move here.
Okay, so my email address is academyinfo@mtoi.org. So that's academyinfo@mtoi.org. And I can answer any question that you would like to ask. So let me get my price sheet real quick. So for the Montessori school is $2,500 for the school year, and that only entails the class from 8:45 to 3:30. Of course, early drop-off and late pickup, there's additional fees, but also that is subject to your financial capabilities. And
Right, so she's just going to give you the, assuming you don't have any financial issues, price, okay?
yes, because I wouldn't want to share some numbers and then everyone walks away like this, because we've seen that happen and I don't want that to happen.
Although if anybody ever went in private school, they paid that monthly, not for the year. So
Yes.
this is really well priced.
The school that I came from would have charged you between $500 and $800 a month for kindergarten for the 8:30 to 3:30 slot. So for elementary through high school, it's between $2,800 and $3,000 for the whole school year. So that's going to entail, for middle school and high school, they'll get Microsoft products, so Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook. They actually get an email address, and a lot of online opportunities. We have a learning management system that we're using for middle and high school. This rates also include a computer. That it's not one that they get to take home, but one that they get to use at school. Elementary also gets a computer. With that being said, we don't always sit on the computer all day. There's a lot of hands-on activities too. Like I said, it's a blended classroom approach. That would be a blend of Montessori, traditional, and then online learning. Let's see. Any rates would be spread over 11 months if you were to choose that option. Oh, your rates also include any extracurricular activities, virtual learning opportunities, art, music, cooking, science experiments, projects, and so on. The student's progress is viewable online. If you're in elementary school, currently we email progress probably every 2 weeks. For middle and high school, parents can log on at any point. Let's see. Hold on. I was actually putting together a PowerPoint for this, but I ran out of time. Let's see. So we function under Home Life Academy. We are pursuing the private school entity, however, that's a process. A lot of people will ask me, are you accredited, and all those kind of questions, but right now we function as a Category 4 school in Tennessee under Home Life Academy. They are the private school entity, so they're our umbrella school or our legal covering. So we report grades, curriculum, attendance, and any other questions or anything I need, I can go to them if I need it. So we do a lot of coordinating with them. As part of your fees, the Home Life Academy fee is included in the fees that you would pay. And I'm the group administrator, so you really don't have to do anything with it. I get to do it. Is there any other questions?
Do you take students with special needs in the academy?
We're looking eventually down the road to be able to hire a special needs teacher. That's going to take some time. However, we can work with children who have situations like ADHD, ADD, and some sensory
it basically
needs.
depends on what the special need is at this point. But I mean, if it's something that's just helping them, hindering them to the point where they're just a little bit slower, or their focus is a problem, that kind of thing, we probably could work with it. But if it's a much more interfering type, like interfering with their ability, they really need a special needs expert to really work with them properly, we don't have yet the capacity to handle that.
It really just depends on their level of need
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, she's saying he had dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia.
That would be a question you can email me about, and then we can talk on the phone.
Right. As long as they don't have ODD, we'll be okay. We already have our quota on that one.
No, it's not true.
If you don't know what that is, it's opposition defiance.
This lady wants to
It's
know.
called a teenager. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, or BAD.
BAD.
Lady wants to know, is it the school year, when does it run from September to June, or when is it?
So the school year is from August to May. And then, of course, we have usually roughly a 2-week break for Sukkot and Pesach, and a few other breaks sprinkled in there. Shavuot normally falls during the summertime. And then, of course, all the feasts are off, so.
Yeah, children do not need a special letter to miss school for the feast. Because they are off for the feast.
That's it. Some people are asking, but I told them just to email you about the.
Can somebody turn that off for me? Just press any button.
Oh, that's yours.
The other ones, they were talking about volunteering and stuff, what it would require to be here, but I told them just to contact you. So academyinfo@mtoi.org.
Yep. And by the way, that's 5 demerits for your phone going off. And she's the director, but I'm really the principal, so. What was that? Exactly.
I'm fired.
All right, go ahead.
Once it becomes a private school, are you going to allow children and other families here that are not a part of the congregation?
We're discussing that. We have to see what we can do and what we can't do legally and how that all structures. And so right now we're a hybrid, kind of like homeschool, but we're not doing it at home. We're doing it in a group setting, but it's not really homeschool because while we are using some homeschool programming, we do actually have some classes that are being taught and different programming that we're doing. So it really is a hybrid kind of program. And it's developing. Look, we only have 1 year under our belt. Now we have a second year going. And so we're learning so much as we're putting this together. And so it's a tremendous opportunity that we're developing. But little by little, because one of the mandates that I feel like Abba gave me was start with the education system. By the way, as a part of the part of the teaching program, we have Torah Time every day. Okay, in Torah Time, they're either watching one of my teachings, like they've just been going through the Discovering Your Identity program, so they're learning and understanding about being an Israelite. Okay, so they've been going through that for a couple of weeks. Rabbi Tom comes in and teaches them about things like Rosh Chodesh and feasts that are coming up and things like that. Okay, so we do have a lot of Torah programming that's involved in there as well, just to give them a little piece of that after lunch, usually every day. Okay? And I come in to teach some of that. Matter of fact, the other day we had a really great class. I came in and gave them a little idea of how to use a concordance. Okay, something like that. Christine asked me, hey, could you come in and show them how to use some Bible helps? And said, actually, she asked me if we had one, and I gave her a concordance. About 2 weeks later, she said, by the way, you want to tell us how to use it? This big, giant, heavy book. I said, sure. So we came in and did. So that's part of the nice thing is that the academy and my office, we're all in the same building. No problem just coming and grabbing me. Fridays often for lunch, at lunchtime, the children may actually be in the kitchen learning to make challah and helping make the challah. And then we have a little kiddush and motzi with the children. They call me in or Rabbi Tom in to do that with them. It's a lot of fun. Did you want to?
You know, as I hear Rabbi and Christine talk, I think one of the things that I'd like to kind of circle this back and bring this in, and that is to say, you know, if you had an opportunity to buy Amazon before Amazon was Amazon, or if you had an opportunity to buy Coke before Coke became Coke, this is that same sort of thing. If you know,
we're not selling any of this.
I understand it, but we have something here that's very unique. It's very special, and I think that's why over 400 folks are here to actually say, is this real? You know, have I really been seeing what I've been seeing? And I really hope that you get a great takeaway while you're here to really see, is this something, I mean, is this truly that? You know, a lot of folks knew about Amazon before, you know, in its early days and didn't buy. And they're kicking themselves right now. So this is that moment. So that's all I wanted to say, just listening to Christine and Rabbi.
So I just wanted to give you a quick picture of what the students' day looks like. So when they get here, they'll come into the main room. All the grade school, 1st through 12th, is in what we call the main room. It's kind of similar to a home room. That's where their main desk is, their backpack and all their books is going to be sitting, their computer. Then we have 3 other classrooms that we rotate in, depending on what class is being offered, their ages and timing and so on. And of course, we're outside in the garden, and then also in the gym where they do their PE activities, and then we eat lunch there also. So the elementary is taught by Miss Erin Sullivan, and Glenna Baird is her assistant. And Erin does a fabulous job with incorporating as much hands-on experiences that she can. She's extremely creative, and she loves the children. And Miss Selena works with the middle school, and I also work with the middle school, and then I work with the high school too. And like I said, we just rotate throughout the day. We have lunch around noon, and then after lunch we have Torah time every day. And it's really a community that is being built, because I see perhaps maybe one day one of the high schoolers is not having a very good day. I'll see one of the other ones notice that and then try to console that person or help in whatever way they can. But I also see the exact same scenario in our Montessori classroom, where the children are helping each other, they're encouraging each other, and if someone comes in late, even the little tykes, they're like, oh, so-and-so is here, and then they all run to say hi. So a sense of community really is being built, and I just continue to marvel each day and each school year at what's being done here. So I just praise Abba for that.
And you know, look, and the children at a very young age are also getting, I guess, developing a relationship with the vertical connection in terms of even the structure, because I'm there a lot. They get to know me. As a matter of fact, I think daily their favorite game is I show up around lunchtime and they play Tackle the Rabbi. So they all come running, the elementary school kids, not the older ones, thankfully, but the little ones come running in and they're like, they all jump on me. You know, that's like one of their favorite little things to do with that. But see, now I'm already getting to have a relationship then with them. They're excited when they see me come, they see me there, and so when they get older, you know, they'll maybe come and counsel when they have things going on in their life and things that they need to do, you know? And so it's a lot of fun with that, and we enjoy that. But, you know, this is a special thing. It's groundbreaking. It's new. And it's available to all of you to whatever degree you want to participate in it. Again, we're just trying to provide anything we can figure out that you need in helping you walk this out and enjoy life on the way to the kingdom. Amen? Amen.
So we just told you all the wonderful things. Just kidding. the kids, they have their little squabbles, right? They're kids. That's what they're going to do, all the way from the little toddlers all the way up to the high schoolers, and then even adults. They get to see each other rub shoulders, where relationships can be more like sandpaper rather than velvet. But they also get to see how we make up, how we fix it, and how we're able to talk about it. So one of the things that we really work on as teachers up there is modeling the behavior that we're supposed to have towards each other, the proper attitude, conflict resolution, and so on. So,
Amen. And really, the children behave very well. The teachers have, I mean, you'd be amazed to walk up during school into a room that's housing basically elementary, middle, and high school in the same space, scattered in different sections of the room, how quiet it actually is. I mean, it really is people doing what they need to do. If they have to whisper a little bit, if they're working together or collaborating on something, often if they are, they get to go off in a separate space where they can work on a project together. But it's incredibly quiet when you're considering the wide range of grades that are all going on at the same time. It's just, I walk up there sometimes like, wow, what did you do to get them so quiet? But they understand this is what they're there to do, and they really do enjoy it. All right, any other questions before we end? Okay, lady has her hand up over here. Okay, Billy's coming around.
So my job is weather sensitive, and I'm wondering what is
We
the
have weather here. Okay.
It shuts down if it's snowy or icy.
Not very often, very rare. Okay, it does snow here sometimes, not every year. And when it does, it pretty much almost every time disappear within a few hours. The ground's usually too warm. It doesn't usually stick. We don't have any salt trucks really or any of that kind of stuff to deal with it because we don't really have an ice problem that way. Okay, the bigger problems are on the side streets, the back roads that really don't get much traffic to them, and they can have more of an issue. We do have some icy conditions very rarely, but I mean this is something that happens only a very small handful of times during the winter. Okay, I mean look, it is October 5th, and it is 75 degrees out. Tomorrow it'll be 80. Okay, all right. So we have mild winters. It doesn't have no winter. I mean, we'll get a few days where I'll get to pull out the leather jacket, and I've got a nice heavy one, and I can, it'll be in the teens or something. But it's only a few days that we get like that. It really just doesn't stay cold very long and doesn't get that cold for that problematic type of a thing. And I'll tell you what, I came from New York, so I know snow, New York City. My first house that I rented when I lived here, is the only one actually I rented before I moved into the house I'm in now. And in that house, it had a very steep and curved driveway. So I moved here December 28th. So I went right to the store and bought a couple of bags of salt, or one big bag of salt. I still have it. I haven't opened it in 12 years, or 9 years, okay? If that answers your question, all right? I don't even know if I moved that bag with it. I don't even know what happened to it. We've never used it. Okay, had it for over 9 years. So it's not that it doesn't get there, there's just not a whole lot of it. So I don't want you saying, oh, Rabbi said, and then it snows. Look, we've had some good snow in 8 years, once or twice, okay? Where there was actually like snow, and you could almost make a snowman out of it. I mean, like in 8 years, maybe 1 or 2 times, okay? And then 2 days later, everything's gone and it's all over. It's just too warm. The bigger problem here is that when it rains, some of the areas do get flooding. That's why they've got the giant ditches on the roads, next to the roads on the properties, so all that water can flow. Okay? But really, the cold is not, in 8 years, I haven't seen it be much of a problem. All right, anybody else? Okay, Shaquez.
Just 2 last questions. For summers, do they get really hot? Are you kind of top 100-degree kind of weather?
I don't even think it really gets to 100. It gets warm. It gets in the 90s. It might top 100. Like same thing with the cold. It may get there once or twice every couple years. It really doesn't get that hot that way. Oh yeah, it gets to be in the 90s, and it's hot. but not a whole lot different than probably in Ohio it can get worse. Okay, where you are. We're in the mountains. It's very temperate, great balance, and most of the year is like this. Okay? Think about it. We're already in the middle of October. But what I told you guys before you came, it could have easily have been 15 degrees colder, and actually that's what it looked like it was going to be before the weather changed, but, okay? Weather here is great, and you do get 4 seasons, which is still great. I like that you get a change of temperature. Wasn't a big fan when I lived in Florida of the weather pretty much staying the same almost all the time, okay? Oh, you laugh. I'll give you the weather report from... Wait, I know. I'll give you the... you'll laugh. I'll give you the weather report I heard every day from May until September. 90 to 91, possible shower in the afternoon. I don't even know how they pay those guys. 3 o'clock, right? It would rain at 3 o'clock. I'd get out of work at 5. It already evaporated. And then somebody said, didn't it rain? I don't know. I looked out the window. I thought it did. 90 to 92, possible shower in the afternoon. That's the weather report from May to September. Okay, or even October. And so this is not like that. The weather does have some variety to it. You enjoy it. It gets hot if you like hot. It gets cold if you like cold. And it's very, mild in between most of the time. All right? Okay, who's next?
I have one more
question. Oh, you have 2. Okay, I'm sorry.
If you're someone who enjoys creative and performing arts, are there things like places...
Big city. We have a really big city, only an hour and a half away. Okay? So not very far, so for all those things. But we have a lot of that here. There are some very nice galleries, a really great aquarium. If you like aquariums, you've got children, we have a great aquarium in Chattanooga. Okay? There's a hands-on museum there for the kids to go in and do a bunch of stuff. Downtown Chattanooga. So you got a lot of that stuff. That's only, like I said, 40, 45 minutes away at the most. All right? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we good, Rob? All right. Was that useful? Was that good? Everybody okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and pray. Father, we come before you, and I want to pray for all those that are deciding what to do with themselves as far as their physical location, that you would, Father, give them a hint, a guidance, some inspiration as to what they should do. Encourage them in making their decisions, whether it be staying where they are or moving here or whatever else you might have for them. Father, help them to embrace their part in making those choices. And so, Father, we know that it's your desire that they be in, ultimately, the forever community. And if it's your desire that they be here in this community, that you would guide them, open up the doors, and provide them a path to make that happen. So, Father, we want to thank you for the opportunity, because without you providing this, there wouldn't be a community to come to. So we thank you, we praise you, and we give you all the glory and honor in Yeshua's mighty name. Amen. Amen. All right, amen. All right. Okay, Marty, do you want to stop and then start again for the shofar clinic, which I still have time to do in the next 45 minutes? You want? I don't want to stream it, no. We could just turn this off. We streamed it last time, didn't we? That's all we need is one. That's fine. All right, anybody wants to stay for the shofar clinic, just go ahead and stay. If you all leave, you give me a break.